Hey there. I would like to give you a little explanation today about um, the ponds and marshes in Townstar. Okay, this is a pond, and these are ponds, but they're just like multiple parts. Okay, so it's just like when you put ponds next to each other, they kind of combine. And if you played any of the maps, like the forest, you probably know that in the desert and the plains, you only get ponds that are all by themselves. So the pond gives two passive water to crops. So all around the pond here where there is no crops, there are passively two water in each of the spots around the pond directly adjacent to it, and that goes for the diagonals as well. And sorry about that, I'm having trouble getting my mouse to want to click on some of these, so I think that's just technical difficulties. It's nothing wrong with the game. Okay, and then two away from the pond counts one, and I'll put wheat everywhere that counts one. One thing that you should note is that if you look at any one side of the pond, all three of these, or all the way around counts two, but all three of these count two, and then you come out and these three, it has to be adjacent to ones that are adjacent to the pond. So this one right here does not get any water. It's not adjacent to, well, it is diagonally, but we're not talking diagonal. So from the flat sides, so you can do that from every direction. If you're trying to figure out what is watered and what is not, that's the way it goes. And I'll tell you a little bit further how area effect. If this was a silo, then that would all be shaded 3, this would be shaded 2, and this would be shaded 1. But this would be affected because you could say 2, it was 3, 2. The 2 minus 1 leaves 1 on the corner. Then once you got to this row, it would be 1 minus 1, which would be 0 for up here and out here. So I hope that made sense. If not, that's okay. I'll make a different video on shade. But okay, so that's the pond. You got either 2 passive water or 1 passive water, and I'm not sure if I clicked on any of those, but you can see that it's a 1. Now the marsh just has 1 passive water all the way around it. And if I click here, you see these 2 spots are showing 2 water, and you might be like, how did that happen? Well, I've got a pond right here, so that's the 2 spot, and then that's the 1. If you go from the center of it over like 1, 2, then all 3 of these spots would get 1 passive water from this pond. So these 2 spots here have 2 water, 1 from the marsh and 1 from the pond. And it's a little tricky if you're not used to it, but you will get used to going and counting up. Like over here, if I wanted to create a spot that I can have trees, it's pretty simple because I could count this up. Okay, so 2, 4 water, 5, 6 water, because that's touching on the corner, 7, 8, 9 water. So I could have trees here that are passively watered with no problem. and that is the beauty of the pond. However, what if I decided I want 2 tree spots? Well, I have more than enough, right? So I've got 2, 4, that'd be 4, and then 5, 6, 7, because that's cat a corner. It's hard to see sometimes, but those are touching diagonally. So this could have 7 even without this spot. So what if I remove the pond from there, and then what would we have here? We'd have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 from that pond, 1, 2 over. So that one could also be passively watered. And that, if you've seen my video on how to start in a forest, that is ideal. One thing that I think I forgot to mention about the marsh is that they only exist in the forest area, and they're nice to have to begin with, but when you get ready to remove them, they cost you $5,000. So the ponds give you $5,000 when you remove those, so you can strategically remove them to help with your getting started. But typically you would want to leave all your ponds. I had to remove some ponds to show this example, but you would want to leave your ponds and just utilize them to, like in my case, I usually grow grapes. So there are lots of spots to allow grape growth. So that's really about all there is to the ponds and marshes. I hope that it made sense to everyone. One thing I should mention, if you didn't already know, that you can, on a pond, you can, on the flat side, you can attach a water pump. But on the diagonal here, that would not be allowed. So water pumps for industrial use can be attached to the flat side of a pond, to a river, or an ocean, if you had either access to either of those. But in this case, this would not be allowed. It would only be on the sides. So I think that's really about it for ponds and marshes. So I hope this was helpful and informative. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.